Hey, Russell Leeds here, and on this week's video, I'm going to be talking about the number one skill that you as an entrepreneur or a budding entrepreneur need to learn if you want to be successful. So what is that skill, I hear you ask? And the skill is being able to sell. Now, a lot of people, in fact, most people do not like being sold to. They're like, oh no, someone, oh no, don't, they hate it. They find it uncomfortable. The problem is, if you don't like being sold to, you will never be able to sell. Because that same uncomfortableness that you feel when someone's selling to you, you're going to feel when you're selling to someone else. So, how do you become good at sales? The first thing you need to remember is that sales is you're actually helping someone. Because as long as you've got a good product, if you've got a crap product, then yeah, you shouldn't like selling because you're just selling crap to someone. But if you've got a good product or a good service, whatever it is that you're offering, if it's good, if it's of value, if you believe that it is, then selling it to someone, you're actually just doing them a favor. See, for me, if I'm selling a product, I want to be in a situation where when I'm selling that thing to someone, if they don't buy it, I think they're an idiot for not buying it off me because my offer is so attractive and it's such a good product that I know it's going to benefit them so much that they will be an idiot if they didn't buy it. So I've developed a 6-step plan on how to sell successfully and effectively to your prospects. I'm going to take you through that over the next 6 weeks. We're going to look at step number 1 today. And step number 1 is you need to be sold yourself. You need to be won over on your own product before you sell it to anyone else. Now, I talk about this quite a lot in general because you're selling all the time. It's not just when you're selling a product. Anyone that's successful is good at selling. Whether it's a successful business person, whether it's a successful leader, all the great speeches from the past, all the great leaders, the great presidents, the great prime ministers, they all know how to sell. You don't have to sell products, you can also sell ideas. You know, if I'm with my wife and we're talking about what we want to do that day, and I've got an idea, I have to sell it to her. I have to tell her what I want to do, but I want to communicate it in a way that she understands, that she believes, and that she buys into. I'm selling sales to you right now. You're always selling. The first thing you need to do if you're going to sell is you need to be won over on your own product. You know, there's a saying, and they say, you probably heard people say, oh, he could sell ice to an Eskimo. But why would you want to sell ice to an Eskimo? An Eskimo doesn't need ice. To be a good salesperson, you sell people stuff that they want and that they need. And the first thing you've got to do is you've got to believe in it for you. So if you wouldn't want to sell ice because you don't believe in that, right? So you need to believe in what you sell. And the first thing that it will do is it will give you confidence that you're selling the right thing. But the second thing it will do, it means you can be genuine and authentic when you're selling it to them. People can feel if you feel it or not. And if you really believe in what you're selling and you're confident that it's a good deal, then that will come across and you'll be way more likely to persuade the person to be able to do business with you. And you'll feel much better about it as well because then you can be confident, you can be outrageous, and you can say it as it is that they should do it. I'll give you an example. So one of the things that we teach in property investing this now is something called rent to rent. Now, rent to rent is a great business where you rent someone's house of a normal, let's say a house was worth, the rent was 500 quid, that was the going rent. You rent it off them for £500, but then you generate something we call super rent by renting it out room by room, for example, or renting it out as a serviced accommodation like Airbnb, and you make much more rent. So you rent it off them, you rent it out at a higher rent, and you keep the profit. It's a great way of making money from property without owning anything. The skill is being able to sell that idea to the landlord, the person on the phone. So most estate agents and letting agents don't normally want to go with it because it's weird and different. So you have to speak directly to the landlord. And most landlords find it a bit strange and a bit dodgy. So before you even make the call to the person, you need to be making a list of all the reasons why it's a great deal, okay? So, and you should do this with your product as well. So I'm thinking, if I'm ringing this person, why is this a good deal for them? Well, number one, they get a guaranteed rent. What kind of landlord doesn't want a guaranteed rent? They all do. So write that down, guaranteed rent. What else? They get the market value rent. So they're getting a guaranteed rent at market value. Number 3, you're going to manage the property for them. They don't have to manage it themselves. You're going to manage it for them. Number 4, and I do this experiment. I do this with the guys at our training. I'm like, what else? What? And we go through the list. I'm like, great. You've got the bit. You don't. That's not for them. You're not going to tell them that. That's for you. So now when you ring them, you're thinking, man, I'm offering a great service here. Man, this person would be nuts not to do business with me. And suddenly it completely shifts the conversation. When they were ringing before, when I had the students ringing before, they're ringing up and they're like, yeah, they always feel guilty, like they're doing this guy a disservice. They're like, yeah, I just wondered if maybe you might be interested, right? Because then they don't want it. And suddenly, after this, and they've gone through and they've sold it to themselves. First thing you got to do is sell it to yourselves. Sold it to themselves, what it is, and they're won over, and they believe in the product, they believe in the service they're offering. Suddenly it changes. Suddenly they're ringing up like, yeah, let me tell you about what we do. Let me tell you about how it works. And suddenly their confidence completely changed. So the very first thing, if you're and if you don't believe in your product, by the way, change it. Don't sell something that you don't believe in. Don't sell something that you think is crap or that you think is tosh, because you're never going to feel good about it. You won't be authentic. You won't be able to sell it properly, and you'll make a lot more money. You'll add a lot more value, and in the long run, everything will be much better if you've got a good product that you believe in, that you're sold on, that you can go and sell. And you've got to believe that your product is better than everyone else's. You know, we do property training. I believe it's the best property training in the world, right? I'm not ashamed of that. I believe it. I think it's brilliant. I think we take it through. We do it with them. It's not just theoretical. It's doing. I'm totally sold out. I totally believe in it. And when I'm telling people about it, that comes across and people buy it because they know I would buy it. Samuel, my brother, business partner in that, he sold it to his sister-in-law. And people are saying, why would you say it to your family? Because he believes in it. He's sold on it himself. You've got to be sold first, then you can sell. That's rule number one. Next week, we'll look at the next rule, the next step in the sales system. Please do tune in. I look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you ever so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next week.